There we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our new episode. It's December 5th, Friday at noon Pacific time, and I'm here with my comrades, Christopher Rausch, the Kick-Ass Guide to Life Coach, and Audra Erwin, High on Life Coach, two of my really great friends, and we're here to talk about intentions and goals for 2015, which is coming up. It's just around the corner, and kind of distinguishing for me the difference between an intention and a goal and how they go together. So love to hear back from my two friends here and see what's going on with them.
Well, I say we start with you because you're you wanted to differentiate between intention and goal. So I say, like, let's bounce the ball back to you, Mama.
Okay, great. Goals are, I think, for me, milestones, if you will, of things that we want to create, get done throughout any given time period, and they tend to have a set time frame where I would like to have certain things be done. And an intention to me is more of the vision that holds those goals together. And an intention doesn't necessarily have any set time frame, nor does it have any expectation behind it. It's more like the vision that holds it all together, and there's no expectation of a particular outcome. There's no intention of when it's going to get done or what it's going to look like. So that's how I differentiate an intention versus a goal.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you, Carol. I think that's an awesome way of saying it. Hi, guys. Christopher Rausch. And I think it's about knowing your why. I think what you're saying is your intention is knowing what the end result is of your outcome, and that's like the big picture, knowing what the big picture is, and then the goals are like the subset of that, being able to sit there and say, okay, what is it going to take for me to get to that intention, that end goal, and knowing your why. And that's what I'm excited about today to talk about is knowing your why and being able to set those goals and have 2015 be a super kick-ass year for you and for people around you that you're trying to help. So I would totally agree with you, and I think I'm excited about talking about this because we set goals for ourselves, and then we set these big audacious goals, and then come February we're like, oh shit, we didn't make them. Crap, might as well give up. So I'm excited to talk about ways we can break those down and make sure you guys are all successful out there and have an awesome 2015. Audra.
Yeah, pretty much piggybacking off of what you both just said. And I think the same thing. Intention is vibration, right? So it's the energy of, like, I intend to have this. And it's usually obviously tied to a why, like you just said. And further than that, like, yeah, what will it mean? What will it mean for me to have this? Why do I want this? And locking into that. And then those goals, like you both said, are just this, like the yellow brick road, to get you to that. So, yep. And so to tack off of what you said about, a lot of times, because it's the end of the year, right? This is the time where we check in, and most people are like, freaking crap, I didn't do what I said I was going to do, and you start to feel bad and you down, right? And even successful people, like I know for me, I create a vision board every year, and I know that there's like 2 or 3 things on my vision board that I didn't fulfill. And so instead of going down the rabbit hole, like, oh gosh, feeling bad about that, that was my intention, it didn't happen, why didn't it happen? You check in with that. Like, well, why didn't that happen, right? First of all, celebrate and find the things that you did do that weren't even on that vision board, right? Because that's the other thing too, is to remember, not to get down on ourselves. What else showed up for you in your year? That was really awesome, that you didn't even know about or create, or that was a surprise or whatever, and celebrate that. And then check in with the things that are still on your vision board. I always say on a scale of 1 to 10, how important really was that for me? How important still is it? Do I want to carry it into 2015? Do I want to leave it on there, right? And then if it really is that important, checking in with, well, what showed up that kept me from that? I know, for example, for me, some of the things that I had put on my vision board that I didn't see through, I kept getting met with a wall of resistance. Like I thought, oh, I want to do that, I want to do that. But you know what? When I finally was like, what is this resistance about? You know, we always get our message when we meet our resistance head on, right? Rather than forcing it, was that I was supposed to just be this year more. I had been going and doing and going and doing, and it was like, the reason why I was met with such resistance was because I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I was wanting to do it for the wrong reasons. Again, there was, that achievement thing. Because when you achieve, then you get X, Y, Z. Oh, as soon as that, because then I'll get, praise or significance or whatever, right? And so I've come to a place where it's like now I'm aligning what I want and the intention behind it, going back to that intention. Like why do I really want that? And is that congruent with the truth of who I am and who I want to be, right? So it was pretty powerful learning and growth for me this year to be okay with not seeing some things through, rather than beating myself up about it, seeing the gift in it of it was so for the wrong reasons. And now I get to create the things that I want to create from a whole different vibration. And anyway, so that's kind of the thing I would say, when you're creating your vision of moving forward, is to really check in with, why am I really doing this? And get real and truthful. And if it's not in alignment with, the truth of who you really know you are to be, because you don't have anything to prove to anybody, really. So that's where I'm going to start with that.
Yeah, I think that's really great. I think it's really important to constantly be checking in to look at the authenticity and our drives and motivations behind what we're doing, and to see if our big why is, and the goals that we've set to honor and facilitate that intention are still in alignment with what and who we are. It's one of those constantly being aware of our own evolutionary process as we go along whatever path we're on, and being clear, always looking for the clarity. And I use a lot of different tools for that. Sometimes I use meditation. I'm always in a meditative state where I'm aware of what my body is telling me and where my thoughts are coming from and all kinds of things like that. But I also use the I Ching. So I ask questions pertaining to a particular situation, and it allows me to get a different perspective, because I Ching is kind of like communicating with the cosmos, if you will. And I sometimes use astrology. Sometimes I'll ask a question and I'll look at what's going on astrologically for me. So I have a multitude of different tools for me to really take a look at what's going on, where I'm going, am I still on the right path? And so it's really cool to have those things available.
Yeah, and you know what's, and I'm glad you said that, Carol, and also to say what Audra, you said, you and I have talked about this, and we both kind of did the same thing where we took a step back this year. And I know for me, I got caught up in the machine of, oh, Chris, you're so great, and oh, Chris, you should be doing this, and oh, Chris, you should quit your day job, and all these different things, and I got caught up in the machine of the fame and the money and all that other stuff, and just kind of had to take a step back like you did and say, okay, what am I doing this for, and why am I beating myself up for stuff that not necessarily in my radar for the next 2 to 3 years that I put on my radar and I promised people I was going to do. And it's amazing what we do in order to set the proper goals moving forward, is we have to take a look at what we're willing to let go and why we're doing it, the core reason why we're doing stuff. It's, and we're going to talk about goals in a little while. We set these goals to lose weight, but that's not really the goal, and we'll talk about that. But I took a step back and said, okay, why did I get into speaking? Why did I get into doing stuff like this? And it was really just to be able to make a difference in people's lives, mostly people who are homeless, like I was, and also at-risk kids, you know, being able to make a difference in those kids' life like I was. I was a screwed-up teenager, and had I not gone through the things I went through, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. And getting caught up in being on stage and all that other stuff is great and everything, but I was too focused on that as opposed to the core thing that I wanted to get into. And I told myself, I gave myself permission, which is important. I gave myself permission to say, no, Chris, you don't have to live up to everybody else's expectations. You only have to live up to what's in your heart. So I totally agree with what you're saying there. And I hope you guys out there understand that too, because we do get caught up in the machine and the approval and the need for, oh, what a good boy. You know, it's like I didn't get much approval for what I did this year, but I feel okay because I feel good in my heart for what I did.
I'm going to stand you corrected on that one, because I think you've gotten, because of not doing that, you've probably gotten more validation and approval, you know, than ever. And I know that same has been, I think, for all three of us. It's like when you stop seeking for it and let it go and surrender it and really align with the truth and give yourself permission to go, okay, you know, what am I really doing this for? It's like that's when it started to show up. The one thing that I started, you know, that I was so, you know, doing all these things to gain, yet when I let it all go, naturally and organically showed up, right? And I think that's pretty huge. And I love what you said about giving yourself permission, and then also to take that a little bit further, and in that sometimes, you know, people know what we have planned to do, and then when you don't do it, you know, it's like giving yourself that permission to say, you know, to tell the truth and be like, you know what? It's my prerogative to change my mind, period, without explanation. Like we tend to launch into, you know, all these, they crank out the excuse factory, right? And I'll shut that fucker down and just tell the truth. You know what? I fucking changed my mind. Oops, sorry. Like seriously, like it's okay. It is our prerogative and God-given right to go, you know, yeah, you know, there's a difference between wimping out and bailing out and making excuses of why you want to do it, and that's a whole different thing. But really, if it's not in alignment and you want to take it off your plate, you don't have to eat it. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
I so agree. It's a lot of great points in there, and I think that no matter what anybody says or what we get caught up in, as long as we recognize it for what it is, it's all feedback, and it's part of our process of growing and learning and understanding what's right for us, not according to what other people say is right for us. And so the points that you were making, Chris and Audra, are so right on. We really have to always be checking in to make sure that what we're doing is timely for us alone, not according to anybody else's timetable, what is appropriate for us to be doing, and not miss any steps along the way based on what everybody else is telling us we should be doing or that we're great at. It, you know, yes, you're right, we can get caught up in the headiness of all that, but then what I have found along the way, especially this past year myself, is what is going to move me forward toward meeting my destiny and fulfilling that is in accordance with my own process, my own learning, my own comfortability with where I am and what I'm doing. And like you said again, Audra, it's not about making the excuses, but recognizing when we're making those excuses as well. So it's a combination of everything. It's really just allowing ourselves to check in and have that quiet time to really know what we're doing, why we're doing it, where we're going, and are we following those steps in order necessary for us to do and be and accomplish what we want in the world, not according to anybody else's agenda. Just maintain and really be truthful about our own motivations, and as long as we do that, we're doing the right things and we're doing it the right way, and we'll know it. We'll always know it. You know, I always get this twinge inside when, oh, this does not feel right, and I don't pay attention to it, I get slapped right on the hand about it. You know, it's like, uh-oh. Exactly. And so I just have to regroup and step back and pick up that misstep, so to speak.
So what do you guys do when you come across those people in your life that are, you know, because we all need accountability partners to call us on our crap and catch us, because there's a thin line between saying, oh, I'm taking a break and I'm taking a step back from what I said I was going to do, which could sound like an excuse. How do you guys deal with the people in your life that hold you accountable, your accountability partners, when they try to call you on that and you try to explain back to them, no, this is just a regrouping or a repurposing of my vision? Do you guys come across that at all? Because I know I've had that a little bit.
I'm pretty intuitive and pretty in tune, you know, to what's really going on, and then I ask deeper questions to really get underneath of there, and usually the truth surfaces. It's either really not that important. We kind of during that process identify what it is that they really want. It's the outcome, right? Like we were talking about our goals. It's always tied to a feeling. What do you hope to gain from it? And usually it's when they're wanting to back off of it, it's for somebody else. It's not really what they want to do. So that's kind of been my experience. There's a fine line between calling them out on it and knowing when there's more there. But there's where the process goes and the questions flow. And you kind of have to listen to what's not being said and dig deeper and ask more, you know, empowering questions and get really curious. And usually it surfaces, and then you can call bullshit on it if it's, you know, them really, you know, making excuses for not seeing their outcome through, or getting really clear on, it's about the clarity. Is this really what you want? How important is it? You know, and what's preventing you from really doing it? And that's usually kind of where the layers come off and you kind of get the truth.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It's always, for me, a looking inward, and what anybody else has to say about it is their business, not mine, and I thank them very much for their input and move on. Because it's really me that has to be clear about what is an excuse, or, you know, an excuse has fear behind it, right? So I have to know when the fear is there and face it and look at it head on, and whether or not I'm just truly regrouping and taking a look at what's, you know, if I'm doing the right thing at the right time. And it is about going deeper and more inward about the questions and making those discoveries. So I'm right there with you, Audra. I don't really pay too much attention to anybody else and feel the pressure as much as I used to from people, because I'm clearer now on what I'm supposed to be doing, when, and so forth. I think that helps. I think the clearer we become, the less we are dependent on the opinions and so-called pressure from others to do, be, and, you know, act.
Yeah, it goes back to that authenticity thing we've talked about in the past. It's like when you're congruent, and I was just helping a coaching client the other day, when you're congruent and you're passionate and you know what you want, you know, the naysayers and even the people that care about you who try to detract you, there's this like certain peace, and that's the whole thing I've been looking for this year, is peace and simplicity. There's a certain peace in the fact that you're like, you know what, I know you think this of me, and I know you think I could do this, and I know you think that if I did this and that I would be here, but for me it's not about all of that, it's about what's in here. And so I think that's spot on, Carol. I think when you have that confidence that you can say, hey, I know what my passion is, I know what my mission is, I know I'm going to get there, I'm not in a hurry to get there necessarily. Because you got to be careful what you wish for. I mean, you guys know about the TV show host thing, and we talk about fear, about goals. One of my big goals is to have a television show one day, a talk show, where I'm interviewing people and I'm talking to them. I'm helping them make a difference in their life, and I'm helping the audience, and we're having fun. It's just a kick-ass, you know, show. It's like a variety show, and then all of a sudden I get approached to potentially host a reality TV show, and I was like, holy shit. this is for real, you know, and I'm still scared because I'm still in the running. They're still doing the casting, they're doing the show development, but there may be a point in the next week or two where they say, okay, Chris, we shoot on location in New York. We need you to be there for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, or, you know, I mean, that's scary. But, you know, at the same time, you know, it's what I've asked for. It's what I put out into the universe. But, you know, and if at the end of it, and I've told people this, there may be an opportunity that I say, no, not yet. And because we have to feel good in ourselves and what we want to do, but also in the same respect, which we'll talk about, is sometimes you just got to shit or get off the pot. You know, you can't pass up once in a lifetime opportunities, because I've talked to people in the past. And I'm like, you know, I'm all about regrets. I'm like, so if you could go back and do one thing, what would it be? Like, oh, I had this opportunity to take this job. I had this opportunity to be with this girl. I had this opportunity, you know, with this idea, this invention that I had that, you know, became duct tape or whatever the hell it was. You know, sometimes we have to make sure we get out of our own way to be able to be the success we want to be. So I don't know where that exactly came from, but it was, she said something about fear, and then you said something. And
no, well, like it all goes back to that, you know, that accountability support. And I think that when you have the proper accountability support in place, the proper keyword, you know, knows when to call you out, knows what you really want, knows, you know, but there's also a fine line between forcing your agenda on somebody else, right? You know, and so it's like taking everything, you know, for what it's at the value of what it's given, right? And but we ultimately, you know, stay in that. So that's why, you know, I had a client the other day who she's young and she wants to pursue acting, and of course, you know, everybody tells you all the reasons why you shouldn't be an actor and blah, blah. And so she struggled with that, and so ultimately she said to me, she's finally, you know, she's doing her classes and all these things, and I'm excited for her, and she's got a potential agent. And she asked me the question, and she said, should I tell anybody that I'm doing this, that I'm pursuing this? And we got really clear on, you know, who supports you, who, you know, who can you trust, who's going to cheer you on and believe in you and not want to piss on your popsicle because they don't have the courage to pursue their own dreams. And, you know, and so oftentimes that's what happens, you know, and usually the people who hire coaches and have accountability support and join mastermind groups are those people who have the courage to step outside their comfort zone. So it is important that you have those networks in place and not just be, like, what does Craig Duswalt say? Go and tell no man. And actually, I was listening to a Napoleon Hill thing the other night about the 17 principles of success, and he actually said something about it in there about not, I forgot what he said, but it was something about not sharing also. Be selective who you share with. There's importance in that.
so let me ask you, Audra, you said that you use a vision board for your goal setting. Carol, what do you use, and how do you guys like the mechanisms that you do for, you know, as far as how you plan your goals and how you stay consistent with your goals? I'm curious to find out how you guys do it.
Well, you know what? I never used to make goals, but what I am doing right now is I'm working with a friend of mine, and we're mapping out together systems. So, in other words, I have this board that hangs out right in front of me, and it's got the why of something, the actual thing that I'm doing, and all the necessary steps to take in order to accomplish each one of those. And so it's got its flow. So, for instance, if I have a thing called list building, and what am I going to do to accomplish list building, I'll have, say, an opt-in form that I have to create, and all the tasks that go into making that happen. And then on the next column, I've got, say, a free telecall for people to get to know me, and what that is going to accomplish. Could be building my list, it could be vetting out people that I would like to work with or might want to work with me, and then all the tasks that go along with that. And so, and each one has a different color to it, so that I know what it's for and why it's there. And I keep following. So there's a list going down, and there's a list going across, so there's a nice flow to everything. And I've never done that before, but I'm really getting clear that I can't keep it in my head anymore. I think it's so important that people begin to realize that they can't keep all this stuff in their head. It's got to be out somewhere where you can see it, write it down. Anything that gets it out of your head and makes it real. Because the more stuff that we keep in our heads and keep to ourselves, it's not real. They're just thoughts rummaging around, and we can't organize it. We can't keep anything organized that way, and we can't see the steps involved and make those things real. I think it's become very clear to me that I have to do that.
Can I just give you an amen? Amen, sister. Hallelujah. God bless you. Kick ass. Yes, 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 yes. If there's one thing I can pound in people's heads is you got to get it out of here and you got to get it out there. I have a dry erase board here. I have a dry erase board over here. Yes, you got to get that stuff out. I'm so proud of you because so many people, as soon as they get it out and they write it down and they make that mental commitment, it's amazing what happens. And you change things as you go. So I think that's awesome. I just want to make sure everybody out there watching this listens to Carol because that is one of the key ingredients to getting your shit done.
Yeah, thank you. I feel really good about it. It brings clarity, and it opens up space for more creativity to come through. It's amazing.
Yes, if you think it, ink it. If you think it, ink it. And I actually just recently learned this really cool mind mapping technique called blooming that has allowed me to get the information out of up here and bring it down. And it is also a great tool. I've been using it with my clients even to access limiting beliefs that are swirling around up in there in the because it has you access your subconscious mind. So you're getting information when you're getting it on paper and you're blooming it out and it grows legs and it's fun and a creative process and it allows us to tap into our right brain and our creativity that accesses all the gold that's up there. And I notice as I've been doing it, it's like you can create your webinars, your everything. It's like, oh my gosh, it's really easier. It's so we're like in the flow. We have everything we need inside of us. We really do. We just have to calm it down and put it down and ground it, and it's amazing. So that's something new that I've used. Is the mind mapping, the whole mind mapping thing, and getting a lot out of that. I love vision boards because it's fun. It's like a tradition that I do, at the end of the year, and cut out things and glue them down, and just doing it, just the process of doing it raises my vibration and gets me happy and gets me excited about what I want and what I'm intending, and all that, because and that's the feel part, and like having that visual thing in front of you, right, that you look at every day that reminds you and you kind of get excited about it, and again, everything, all these things that we want, and going back to the why thing, Christopher, it's how we're gonna feel when we have it. It's not the book, it's the sense of accomplishment, it's the, whatever that looks like, but it's all about feeling. So I think vision boards are huge because it just accesses that feeling mode. And then you have a visual thing that you have in front of you to check in with and look at and inspire you and remind you of your why and your intention and how it's going to feel when you have all that. So I'm a big fan of those. And putting the measuring stick away, unless you're going to use it only to measure your successes, instead of measuring how far you still have to go. Like I say, take that measuring stick and break it every day, because that's the common theme I have noticed for people who have such visions, is that they're so focused on how far they have to go, and that they're not measuring up, and it's like the accountability people and the coaches, we get to remind them of how far they've come, how much they've already done that they don't give themselves credit for. So a tip that I would like to suggest and offer is to create like a box or a jar, and anytime the little things happen for you, like Christopher, I know that on Facebook you shared a lot this year, oh my gosh, this happened, and oh my gosh, someone, it's like that's great. And I would say, take those and write them on like a Post-it note and stick them in a jar, so that the times when you're stuck and you're frustrated or you feel like you're not where you want to go, that you can just reach out and pull that box out and just go, wow, and it just re-energizes you and re-juices you and gets you really excited and go, damn, you know what, I have, done a lot, and I don't give myself enough credit, and I am going to get there because, look, I didn't have all of that when I didn't think I'd have all of that, and now I have all of that, and I'm going to have all of that because I have all of this, and I'm going to all go now. Why can't I hear you?
Because I was doing a Japanese thing. I was like, no, I had my microphone muted. I just want to build on the vision board thing, Audra, for a second. I have actually my iPads in front of me, and I have pictures on my iPad that I do through a photo gallery. So it's all my vision board pictures. So as I'm playing music while I'm working, the pictures keep scrolling over and over and over and over again. But true story, my wife and I had I'm big about dry erase boards. I love them because you can just erase them and put a new idea up or something like that. But one part was a cork board. And on there we had a pool at our other house, but the pool was like bland. It was just like standard concrete coping. And we said, oh, one day we want to make it more tropical back there. So there was a magazine article, like you were talking about cutting things out and putting things down. This is crazy. So we were flipping through a magazine one day, like a home improvement magazine. We're like, that's the pool we want. Tore it out, didn't even cut it out, tore it out, stuck it up on the board. Probably sat there for 3 years. I literally was like, okay, we're not doing anything, with it. It's kind of bugging me. It's taking up space. We should put something else there. If we're going to do something with the pool, we should do something with the pool. And then we decided, okay, we're going to rent that house. We're going to go get another house. And this is where it gets interesting. We looked at 100 houses, all with pools. And then we finally picked this one house that was a foreclosure. It wasn't in the neighborhood we wanted, but it was a foreclosure. It stuck with us. And the crazy thing is, about 3 or 5 months later, I'm bad with time, we're sitting in the backyard and we're looking at the pool and we're like, wait a minute. I think it was me, and I was like, doesn't that look like the pool in the picture? And sure enough, that picture was still on the bulletin board, and we walked in there and it was nearly identical. So, bam, put that in your law of attraction folder and smoke it.
High on life, baby. Remember, high on life.
Yeah, it says it right there. So what do you do, Audra? The mind mapping's awesome. Just for you guys out there, I've been mind mapping for a long time because I'm a very visual person. There's a program out there that's free. It's called Free Mind. Actually, I can see it on my desktop. It's called Free Mind, and you can get it, and it's awesome because, and make sure I'm talking about the same thing you're talking about. You start with a center bubble. That probably doesn't look right, does it? You start with a center bubble, my bad mind, and you put an idea there. Like, so you say, grow business, and then all of a sudden you can do this arch off of it, build your database, get out and network, and you start building these branches off of it, and you start seeing things build. Is that the same thing you're using?
Yeah, pretty much. But I'm a pen and paper girl. Like, even writing. And actually they even say, that the online ones are great because there's a lot of ones that are online, but there's nothing like letting yourself flow. With pen and paper first, and then can go and do it. And hey, if you're not, it's better than nothing. But they do say, whoever they are, because you know about the they people. But yeah, so yeah, but that is what I'm talking about, and it's been mind blowing for me. I did MindNode. I did an online version of it. About a year and a half ago, when I was working with somebody to create my retreat that I was doing, and but not myself. I hadn't allowed myself to do it on paper in this process that I learned, and so it's been huge. So I recommend definitely doing that. Definitely.
Yeah, mine has been on paper too. That, like I said, I've got this poster board, and I've got Post-its that are in different colors to represent what they mean and stuff like that. The other thing that I wanted to say is, if there's somebody that's also in business with you, not necessarily in your business, but that's kind of on a similar path, it's great to actually do this with somebody else. I have a really close friend of mine that lives nearby, and we've been friends for a long time, 10 years or so or more, and we're on similar paths in growing our businesses and kind of starting all over with our business vision. And so we've gotten together and we're doing this visioning board together, if you would want to call it that. And so we get together, we make it a point to calendar it in, to get together and actually do some of this together, because she knows me really, really well, and when I'm, brainstorming with her, she can help me with clarity on how to word things and make things clear about what I'm really wanting to accomplish, and vice versa. So we know each other really, really super well, and on a very deep level, that we can help each other express it in a way that we want to, but it might not be coming out verbally the way we hear it in our heads. So it's helpful to have somebody else to do it with, or other people. Mastermind is great, but sometimes you can get too lost in that as well. So I have this one person in my life that's really great, and we're helping each other do this.
So how do you? I mean, and that's one of the things that's so critical. And as coaches, as people that we hold accountable, I mean, that's so important. Do you, Audra, have an accountability partner that you connect with? That's somebody that holds your shit accountable?
Yeah, several. Like one for my physical training, right? My running buddies. I'm doing this Kokoro thing with some amazing other coaches next year that requires massive physical training, and so we definitely have accountability for. I have accountability specifically for that. I have a writing accountability partner, that we both write. So yes, absolutely, it's crucial to have that, and to make sure that you pick the right one, because I've had some experiences where I picked accountability partners and they kind of flake out. Like you got to make sure that you're in it to win it, and you're both on the same page. And like there are times like when I don't want to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to run, but damn it, I do anyway, because I know that there's somebody counting on me. And so it's important but you have to have somebody that's going to show up for you no matter what too. It's a two-way street. So it's really crucial that if a couple times they're shady and shaky and flaky, maybe they're not the right fit for you for accountability. So, but yeah, absolutely, it's really important to have that. And so yeah, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, as you guys know, I have Jeff Wolf as my accountability partner, and actually, this is something I want to make clear to everybody out there. It's tough because, like we were talking about yesterday, we want people to call us on our stuff, but at the same time, we want to have that flexibility to readjust our goals and what we want to do. And we've been doing this all this year, and I can honestly say, because I'm transparent, neither one of us have done a very good job of committing each week to the things that we're going to do. We have every Sunday night at 5 o'clock, we talk about, okay, what was our week like? What did we get accomplished? What were our obstacles? Some suggestions on how we can, make next week more productive and more profitable. And this last time, we had skipped a couple of calls, and I said, Jeff, let's just lay it out there. Neither one of us are doing what we're saying we're going to do. I mean, I try, and I hate the word try sometimes, because it's either you do or you don't, which is my own self calling myself out, which is fine. But I said, listen, dude, we have to, in 2014, I've taken a step back, been a little bit more laid back, haven't been as aggressive with my goals, which, as you guys know, I'm hard charging. I mean, I'm morning, noon, and night. What are we going to do? How am I going to do it? But I gave myself permission to step back this year. But I told him, I need you to call me on my shit. No matter how you got to say it. Chris, you told me you were going to do that for 2 weeks in a row. Why haven't you done it? Why isn't it important to you? What's the fear? What's the obstacle? I mean, if it's not there, take it off your list. So that's the one thing I want to share with you guys is it's one thing to have an accountability partner, but it's another one that has one that truly, truly cares about what's going on and has the balls to tell you, hey, you said you're going to lose weight for the last 5 years and you haven't. You said you were going to go out and get a new job and you haven't. What the fuck? So I just wanted to share that because I told him, I need you to get in my ass. Not literally, please, no. Buy me dinner first, maybe. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's Friday. I don't have my bandana on, but that's that's my point.
No, again, it's important. Again, who you select, and it's okay. It's okay, but you definitely, got to set that up right up front. So, want to share some tips? Some more tips?
There's a tip of my fingers. They're nicely manicured. There's a tip of my nose. You want to see? No, you don't want to see that. You know where I was going with that. You're bad. You're bad. You should be ashamed of yourself, both of you. No, I would say one of the biggest things that helps me, I used to, like I said, that big audacious goal, the big bag, if you will. I learned that having a momentary interruption in our studio here for a minute. My thought, small chunks. No, that's not the name of my dog. Break things down. Break things. Neither is blow chunks either, and that's not the name of my ex-girlfriend. So, center. I don't have my bandana on. I'm crazy. No, taking those big goals and breaking them down into small ones, because that's the key. We sit there and we say, okay, I'm going to lose 100 pounds this year. I'm going to lose 25 pounds this year. I'm going to run a marathon this year. I mean, that could be the great big goal, but like I was just helping somebody out the other day. For me, I break down, this is 2 goals in one, or 2 tips in one. I break it down into 30, 60, and 90-day goals. So break it down into, okay, I'm going to lose 1 pound a week, and that becomes, 4 pounds a month. That becomes 16 pounds in 4 months. Whatever works for you, and make it realistic. And when I help people do that, they're like, oh, I want to do this and this and this and that. It's like, okay, that's a huge goal. So let's break it up into these little goals. But and when you do that, it becomes manageable. It becomes realistic. And then you set milestones. You set rewards, which are other tips. But for me, that really, really works when I apply myself and when I hold myself accountable. That's the key thing. Because I'm really good at doing a lot of things and saying a lot of things, and I'm transparent. That when I do that and I commit myself to it, it works. How about you guys?
Yeah, I'm the same way. One of the things that I was talking about earlier about getting it out of my head, I think what held me back to doing that for a while was the fact that if I saw all of the things that I needed to do to make everything happen, I would be so overwhelmed that I'd be paralyzed and not get it done. But what I found was that, like you were just saying, just break it down and just take one step at a time and get something accomplished. And if you can maintain that focus on that one thing and get it done, go to the next step and get it done instead of looking at it all and say, oh my God, what have I got here? I can't do all of this. Well, you don't have to do it all for number one. You can get somebody else to do it, whatever it is that you're not good at. And if you don't have the funds to do it, then, be honest with yourself, and that's not something that you can do right now. Put it on the side if you can. Don't let it block you in moving forward or taking the steps around that to get to where you need to go. And I found that this process has been really helpful for me to see that and to move forward in a step-by-step manner and to really see what I can and can't do and what somebody else needs to do, and face the fears, whatever those fears are. And the accountability is so important. I do have that one person that is really honest with me, and I feel accountable to that person because I don't want to waste their time, and I don't want my time wasted either. So I really can understand where you guys are at, Chris. Just getting real with, well, is this something that we even want to do anymore? Do we want to have these calls anymore? Be honest about that, right? So I was looking at who in my life will really get that down and dirty honest with me, and not waste each other's time, and regroup and recommit if we have to. So I think that's great.
Yeah, and what to tack on to something else you said was huge, was leveraging what doesn't inspire us. By chunking it down, you're able to say, okay, and then like every day I wake up now and I ask myself this question, instead of going, what do I need to do today? What do I have to do today? Looking at my to-do list, or it's not that anymore for me. It's what do I get to create today? What am I most inspired to do today? And I check in inspired to do today. And then it seems fun, like, oh, well, I'd really like to write today. I'd like to work on that. And I'm like, okay. And so somehow I managed to do that first and find a way to do that, because that's what, gives me that momentum and that creative expression that will then filter out into even some of those things that maybe I didn't feel inspired to do. But actually checking in with them and seeing, where can I leverage this to somebody else? Where, is this something I have to do? Is this, value my time, worth the trade of my time, and an exchange of energy for that? So.
I just wrote that down, Audra. I love that. I think it's so. I'm hearing feedback also. That's weird. Oh, great! Now I get to hear my voice in my head. Shit. Wap babaloo bop wap bamboo.
Are you hearing feedback?
I'm gonna take one of my monitors out. I can hear a echo on my. This is fucked up. All right.
Turn your speakers down.
I can't take this monitor out. I have to tune this out for a second.
We're getting the feedback as well.
You are?
Yeah.
I'm not getting feedback.
It's only when I mute my microphone. Oh well. Let me try to get this thought out.
Okay.
I wrote down what you said. Ask yourself the right question. You get different answers. I think that this morning when you ask yourself, if you want different results, ask yourself better questions. So I love that, Audra. I just wrote it down. What do I get to create today? And what do I get to influence today, or whatever. Another thing I wanted to share with everybody that's super important is we set goals. Set the right goals. It's one thing to say I want to make more money, or I want to lose weight, or I want to enhance my career. But when you think about the bigger goal, and you say, okay, why do I want to lose weight? I want to live longer. I want to attract a mate. I want to have a kid. I want to stay out of a hospital. Whatever it might be. Then from there, you even have more goals. So it's like, okay, if I talk to somebody, they say, I want to lose weight. Why? Well, I'm not attracting a mate. Okay, so what you're really saying is that you want the end goal is that you end up with kids and a house with, at the end of the road, or whatever it is. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, that's cool. Now we can break it down. Now we can break it down in those chunks and be able to have that purpose and that mission in life, and know that big why. Because sometimes we get caught in like, oh, I gotta do this, but it's like, okay, what's the why? I don't want to end up lonely, alone, in a studio apartment, eating top ramen, watching reruns of the Kardashians. Okay, well that's a pretty big why. So I just wanted to share that because it's just so important. I find so many people, it's like, well, why do you want to do that? And half the time, they don't know why. Like, oh, wasn't that what I'm supposed to do? Well, that's not what you're supposed to want to do. And if you're okay with what's going on, you want to do with your life, then do that and live it and be you, and not worry about what everyone else is saying.
Yeah, and again, it all is tied to how we're gonna feel when we have that, when we have the, relationship or the family or the job or the whatever, and so when we can, ask ourselves why, and then lock into the feeling of like, well, how's that going to feel when you have that? What will that look like? What will that mean to you? And you lock into that vibration and that feeling. That's when you start to align with the action part of getting it done, right? And doing what it takes. It's just remembering that. And I know so a tip I have to tie on to that is the freeing up space part. Letting go. Like spring cleaning, right? Spring cleaning. Everybody waits till spring. And I think the best time of the year is like, let go now. Like December for me is now my new spring. It's my fall, like clean out, release. Like to me, it's like sending the message that I'm making room for the new year, and what's going to come with that. And like even just recently, even over the holidays. So, well, first before the holidays, I cleaned out all my closets. I got rid of a whole bunch of clothes. Organized my paper, like setting myself up just for like an epic year. And how great that felt, and clearing loose energy, around some relationships that I just didn't want to carry that energy in anymore, and the universe aligned that to happen, and that was grace. I thought all these wonderful things were happening, and I'm freeing up so much space, and I thought, the next thing is physically, right? Like checking in with my food, and it was after Thanksgiving. I was like, man, I felt like shit after Thanksgiving, and I'm like, that for me was just like, that's it. It's not worth this, right? And so then I started checking in with, I'm cutting out coffee. I'm like, you know what? I've been wanting to quit coffee for so long. I'm like, I'm gonna do it now. And so eliminated sugar and caffeine and processed food, and I just started checking in, and I'm like, why not clear all of it? Like it's all part, in all aspects. So maybe when you're creating your intentions, like what are you no longer willing to carry into the new year? It's just, and maybe you guys can address this, but it's like sometimes that you get to that deciding moment where you're like, that's it. And coffee does not have power over me. I wanted to quit coffee last year, and I drink coffee all year. And it's like, I don't want to drink coffee anymore. And I want to put things in my environment, in my person, that support me thriving at the highest level. So I think for me, that's been really huge, is just the clearing up and letting go. And I feel so more on purpose to invite in so much great stuff for the new year. And I feel like that I've, freed up the space to invite all of that in now. So that's just something new for me this year, is that letting go, freeing that up. What do you think?
I think it's great. Now I'm getting the feedback. It is so weird. I think it's the system.
I don't know. I can hear you good, girlfriend.
I always hear the feedback on you too. Maybe it's a California thing.
Wow. It's annoying. Anyway.
I told you.
Well, it's not. I'm not getting it.
I'm not doing it. It's not doing it to me now. Tag your it, Carol.
Well, we're going to have to end this little hangout. I don't know if I can handle much more. I don't know if anybody else could either. Anyway,
I know what it is. It's Audra. Audra, mute your microphone.
I did.
No, you didn't.
Because your cameras keep going back and forth between you two.
Oh, my goodness. The feedback is gone. Hallelujah.
Yep, when you mute the microphone, it was feedbacking through her speakers. That's why it was happening to me and you.
Okay, cool. Oh, that feels so much better. Anyway, I was doing the same thing this year. I was taking a look at the things that didn't serve me anymore, and on a personal level, folks out there, we're not just talking about business stuff here. We're talking about personal stuff too. So for me, I'm wanting to lose weight. I want to feel more healthy. So it's not just about losing the weight. It's about feeling healthier so that I can be more creative and move around better, just feel better. And so I've also got accountability in that department as well. A couple of people from our mastermind group and I are in an accountability call every Sunday. And so we're helping one another just to stay, tuned in to what we want to do on a personal level. And I think that's really helpful. So yeah, I'm wanting to cut out the processed foods and sugar, and I'm not going to beat myself over the head if I have some of these things somewhere down the road. I'm not going to. It's not about beating up ourselves. It's about allowing for a process to unfold and taking a look at what serves us and what's going to get us to the end that we want to get to. And I'm kind of babbling here, but for me, I just want to be clear and allow myself to do what I need to do and not worry about whether I quote-unquote screw up. I want it to be easy, effortless, and compassionate. We have compassion for other people so much, but we often don't have the compassion for ourselves when we don't meet our own expectations for ourselves. So we need to really include that as well.
Absolutely, Carol. I couldn't say it better. Shit, it's doing to me now. One of the things that I would recommend is, in anticipation for that, two things. One thing, Audra, that you said is spot on. It's brilliant. When I had a nutritional coach, she said to think about everything that we put in our body. Is this serving me? Is this providing me nutrients? Is this providing me the health that I need to do the things that I say I want to do that's important to me? I mean, I love French fries. I drink coffee every once in a while. I love French fries and Jack Daniels, not together. But when you sit there and think about that, yeah, it's good to have a cheat day every once in a while. But even for me, every January through February, I take 6 weeks and I don't drink. People hate it because then I become super spun. But I do that because I want to cleanse my body. But actually this year I thought about, I'm going to do it for 6 months. I might, is alcohol really helping me become the best that I can be? Is alcohol really helping me help you become the best that you're going to be? Am I setting a good example? Maybe of course, moderation is good. But I think you guys are spot on, is that as leaders, as people that, we're trying to help people, it's what we put in and what we put out. So I think that's beautiful. And then one last thing real quick is, for those situations, in goal setting, identifying what your potential roadblocks are going to be ahead of time helps you. It's like, okay, wow, I'm not going to drink alcohol. Oh, I've got to go to this party. How am I going to handle that? Visualize in your mind, okay, I see myself having a tonic water and lime. I see myself being comfortable. I feel myself, being able to interact and not be anxious about not having alcohol. Or I see myself not going to the dessert plate and doing stuff like that. So in anything you're doing with your goals, write out the goal sheets I give my clients. One of the things on there, it says, okay, what are the potential obstacles? And then the next thing is what I'm going to do if I come in contact with that. So that you already had that confidence in your mind. It's like, okay, if that happens, I've got these couple of things right here I can do. Whether it is I'm gonna if I get tempted, I'm gonna walk outside. Whatever it is that we might need to do. So spot on.
Yeah, much better to be proactive than reactive, for sure. Definitely a great tip for that. I definitely agree. And then one last tip on my end, and I know we're probably rounding out our show, that I just heard today on our amazing power team calls that we have, is don't be an asshole. Isn't that brilliant? Are you one of those people who ask for help, ask for advice, ask for, whatever, and then you don't do anything with it? Like, don't be an asshole. Isn't that funny? I heard that today. I thought it was brilliant. But yeah, so because people's time is valuable. So if if you're really serious, seek out the resources and then do something. But anyway, I wanted to share that because I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's really cool.
I think you guys are
Don't
really
forget
cool.
to mute your mic.
I said I think you guys are really cool.
Aww. Can you mute your mic? Ah, there you go. You're so sweet. I think you guys are awesome too. We've got our own fan club here. But yeah, very irritating. I was talking to somebody the other day about people that ask you for help and put all the buts and no's and why can't I's and all that stuff up. And when I start to hear that repetitively throughout the conversation, I just stop, done, and I end it. I end the conversation right there. I said, well, you know what? You know, do whatever makes you feel good. I kind of placate to them and just end the conversation so that there's no conflict there, and I don't create dis-ease. I call it high entropy versus low entropy. Where am I increasing entropy and where am I lowering entropy? And it's really a measure of order and chaos. So low entropy is order and high entropy is chaos. It's kind of a physics term. So when I'm in conversation with somebody and I'm having that experience, I just kind of take a step back and say, okay, this is not working. They're not hearing, they're not listening, and that's okay. They're not ready, and that's okay. There's no judgment. There's no trying to convince or you know, or maneuver or manipulate. It's just, oh, we're done. We need to stop and move on.
Yeah, and I guess we need to stop and move on because it's all the top of the hour. Anyway.
Well, from me to you. Oh, there's an echo. Again. Well, from me to you, to everybody watching this and watching this on the replay, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy Holiday, a Happy Hanukkah, a Happy Kwanzaa, whatever it is that you celebrate. Happy that. Have a kick-ass rest of the year. Enjoy 2015. Reach out to us if you want help as far as achieving and setting your goals, achieving your goals. I'm Christopher Rausch, the creator of the Kick-Ass Guide to Life. I love you guys both. You guys are awesome. Can't wait for 2015 and more three sides of the coin.
And I just want to leave our awesome listeners to just celebrate yourself, celebrate your progress, be proud of how far you've already come, be proud of who you are right now, knowing that there is nothing more you need to be, do, or have, that you are totally enough, and then from that space, create whatever you want to be, do, and have. Love you. Peace out. Hi, I'm Life Coach.
Have a wonderful holiday season, everyone. It's been a great, great year for us, for me actually, and I'm hoping that the end of the year is a great one for you. And stay in touch. Just be yourselves and be authentic, and from that place, everything will be as it should. And we're here for you guys. Please feel free to ask us any questions, any comments that you have on the shows, and we really appreciate that you've been with us and that you've been watching us. And so have a great holiday season, and we'll see you next year. Love you guys.